A good Erev Shabbos, everyone. Erev Shabbos, Parhsas Netzavim, the last Shabbos of the year, the final sprint to Rosh Hashanah. I just want to share an amazing thought. We know that there's this famous Gemara that talks about the imagery of the three books that open on Rosh Hashanah. And we say that there's the book of the righteous, the book of the wicked, and the book of the middle of the road people. And the book for the righteous people are written on Rosh Hashanah and sealed immediately. The book of the wicked, so the wicked are written immediately and sealed. But the Beinonim are tluyim va'ondim. The Beinonim are held in abeyance between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Im zochu, says the Gemara, that if we were zocha, if we merited, then nichtavim l'chaim, then we're written in the book of life. And if lo zachu, if we didn't merit, then we were written nichtavim l'misa. We were written for death. And the image that we have is that everybody's being judged and the actions are being weighed. And if you have more mitzvos than averos, then you're in the righteous camp and you're written in the book of life. And if you have more averos than mitzvos, then you're in the wicked camp and you're written in the book of death. And if you're 50-50, Beinonim, the middle of the road people that are 50-50, so then they're being weighed out and they have the equal number of mitzvahs and averos. So therefore, we wait for their imzachu, wait for their if they merit, and if they merit, so then they're written in the book of life, and if not, then they're written in the book of death. The Rambam, when he describes this as part of the tshuva process, the Rambam talks about this, and the Rambam quotes the Gemara, but then he says that he must have tshuva. He said by the Beinonim, if they do tshuva, if they do repentance, then nechtam l'chaim, they're written in the book of life, and if they don't do tshuva, so then they're written in the book of death. And we have to wonder why the Rambam changed from the Gemara. The Gemara just says im zachu, that if you were zoch, if you merited. And the Rambam adds on, which seems to change the language of the Gemara and say it's not zachu, it's not just meriting, but it's actually masa tshuva if you did tshuva. And it sounds like it's a full-on tshuva. Where he says if you did tshuva, not just if you fix one small thing, if you made one small step, but im asa tshuva, if you did tshuva, so then you can move yourself from the one to the other. You can declare yourself in the book of the righteous, but if you didn't do tshuva, then you're not going to be in the book of the righteous, you're going to be in the book of the wicked. And why the Rambam have to change it from the language of the Gemara itself? We also have to wonder, what does the Gemara mean when the Gemara says im zachu, if you merited? What does it merited? If you merit, how do you merit it? How are you zeicha? So I think there's something that we have to look at very, very carefully here. Because I don't think that a tzaddik and a rasha and a Beinoni are being judged just on the mitzvos that they do, on the number of commandments. Because if they're being judged on the number of commandments, that number could always change. And they're not really in one camp. Today, could be I did more mitzvahs than averos, so I'm in the tzaddik camp. It could be that tomorrow I'll have an even number and I'm in the Beinoni camp. And it could be that I could end up being in the Rosh camp because I have a day where I did worse things and not so many good things. I don't think it's a simple mathematical calculation like that. But I think that the the concept of a tzaddik, of a Rosh and a Beinoni, is really looking at a midah bin nefesh, is looking at an essential character trait. And it's judging our essential character traits. What's a tzaddik? A tzaddik is a person who's committed to doing good things, committed to having a good life, committed to being connected to God. It could very well be that there are times where he's doing more averos, where he's filled with averos, he's filled with transgressions. But the pathway, his direction, the place that he's going to, that's all positive and good. The Rosh, on the other hand, is someone whose pathway is committed to evils, committed to destruction, committed to negative things. Now, it could be that he's got times where he's doing such amazing things with some of the resources that he's been given, but it doesn't make him an amazing person. He just happens to be doing something positive. but his direction is very negative. What's a Beinoni? A Beinoni is a person who's not committed to anything. A person who just goes along with the flow, goes along with his life, wakes up in the morning, does the things that he's supposed to do, comes to Shabbos, does what he's supposed to do, follows the rules that he's comfortable with and that he's able to follow, but he's not declared. He's not declared in his life. He doesn't have a sense of a principle, a sense of this is what I'm about. This is what my values are. This is my core beliefs, and everything is consistent with that. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have it l'toiv, and he doesn't have it l'ra. He doesn't have it for good, and he doesn't have it for bad. And that's why he's a Beinoni. That's why he's sitting in the middle. And that's why the Gemara says, Zochu, if he merits. And the Rambam explains, not argues, not changes, but explains what that merit is. That merit is called tshuva. And what is tshuva? Declaring who you are. Declaring what you live for. Declaring what your life is all about. And then a minute that a person declares, he's one way or the other. He's either in the tzaddik camp or the Rosh camp, the righteous or the wicked, because he's declared himself, this is what I am, and this is what I'm committed to. This is what my life is all about. You can't live without a commitment. You live in the middle of the road, you get knocked over by a truck. We know that very often our prophets would cry out, Ad Moshe atem poschem al shtei sifim, that how long you're going to sit on the fence, you're going to sit in the middle. You can't sit in the middle. You have to declare yourself. And the problem is that we don't always declare ourselves. We don't always define ourselves. We know that we have roles in our lives. We have things that we do, but they're not defined for us. We're not committed to things. Very often, we know we're parents. We have so many different roles in our lives. We're parents, we're community members, we're children, we're siblings. But we haven't necessarily defined what that means for us and what I'm committed to do there. Am I running this relationship? Am I being run by this relationship? Am I committed to things, or am I doing things? Am I just wafting through life? Or am I trailblazing? I'm on a mission and on a path. That's what these last days have to be. Last days before Rosh Hashanah, preparing ourselves to stand there on Rosh Hashanah and to declare exactly who we are. To get off the fence, we have to clarify for ourselves what it is we want to be committed to. This Shabbos, don't just waft through Shabbos. Don't just make it through Shabbos. Celebrate Shabbos. Do Shabbos. Put something into the Shabbos. Declare that I'm a Shabbos Yid. I'm this kind of Jew. Make a commitment to what you're doing. And then when you stand on Rosh Hashanah, you stand as a defined human being. This is who I am. This is what I stand for. This is what my life means. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks at us and he says, wow, that's amazing. And he writes us immediately in the book of life, in the book of meaning, in the book of purpose, and in the book of blessing. We should all be remembered for life, for purpose, for meaning, for blessing. We should be written in the book of life. And we should have a year that's filled with a sense of living and accomplishing and growing. Have a beautiful and wonderful Shabbos. And a ksiva v'chsima tova. Have a beautiful, happy, and a healthy year.